Taiwan is completely separate from China despite both places sharing a similar history, language, and people. So why are both of them separate, and why did their previous unification attempts fail? Although Taiwan had always had a small stream of ethnic Han Chinese come to the island, it wouldn't be until the Qing dynasty conquered it in 1683 that a ton more would settle the island and quickly become the major ethnic group. This would lead to Taiwan becoming more similar to and identifying more with the mainland Qing dynasty. But in 1895, Japan took over China, and as you'd likely expect, the people weren't too happy about this, and so they rebelled. It wouldn't be given back to China until Japan's surrender at the end of World War II. Taiwan's incorporation into what was now the Republic of China was at first very much welcomed by the people of Taiwan, but they soon realized that it wasn't all what they thought it to be. You see, during Japan's occupation of Taiwan, their views and culture had drastically changed. During the first half of their time as a colony, Japan heavily suppressed it and asserted its dominance over the island, but likely wanting it to forever become a real part of Japan, it started to rapidly develop the island and make major improvements to its literacy rates, education, banking, and public health services. Its cultures were also replaced with a Japanese one. Anything from food to clothing to names to language to laws and to education were altered or completely replaced. The people of Taiwan had seen how their land had been quickly transformed for the better because of the Japanese, and so they stopped their protests. They could also see that Japan was rapidly modernizing, expanding, and gaining power. Meanwhile, China was doing the exact opposite by not modernizing, tearing itself apart, and getting attacked by Japan all at the same time. Unfortunately for Japan, after it lost World War II, it had to give Taiwan back to China. This was actually really exciting for the Taiwanese, since Japanese rule was still rather repressive with all the having to conform with Japanese culture, plus it almost felt like they were returning back to their true home, China. But China did not see it this way. Despite all the progress that had been made on the island, they felt the Taiwanese had been tainted by Japanese influence and needed to be remade as Chinese citizens. The camel that broke the straw's back was what happened on February 28, 1947. Citizens from all across Taiwan gathered in the streets to protest, but in response, the government violently put down the protests, which led to the deaths of up to 28,000 Taiwanese. This massacre strained China and Taiwan's already tenuous relationship, but it soon got even worse. For 30 years now, the Republic of China had been embroiled in a bloody civil war with the Kuomintang and communists fighting for control in the nation. After a long battle, the Kuomintang were unable to hold back the communists and had to flee to Taiwan. The head of the Communist Party, Mao Zedong, wanted to completely wipe out the Kuomintang by conquering Taiwan, but without going too deep into it, Mao was never able to find the means or resources to overwhelm Taiwan. The United States also wasn't too big of a fan of communism, and so they helped defend Taiwan. China still claims Taiwan because they aspire for their eventual reincorporation. Plus, if Taiwan was allowed to be recognized as independent now, this could inspire nationalist movements within the country. The reason China hasn't invaded Taiwan since Mao's failed invasions is just because it wouldn't be worth it. The international condemnation and devastation of China's economy wouldn't be worth the invasion. This isn't just a guess, because Russia has already experienced this sort of destruction because of their invasion of Ukraine. Speaking of Russia, there's a weird Russian exclave called Kaliningrad, so if you want to know why it's a part of Russia instead of one of its neighbors, then click here. Thanks for watching.